God is pointing to his what? He's wanting to make himself known. Look, I'm intelligent. Look, why? Look how I created and ordered the universe. And so he's making that point. And so, again, for people to deny God because they can't see them, they have to apply the same logic to math. And so it's extremely convicting because it's like, your excuse can no longer be, I don't believe in God because I can't see him. Then don't believe in math. But clearly no one would ever do that. And so I answered the question, where did math originate? So I answered the apologetic question. And this is my favorite part of these concepts because I don't stop there. Because I answered the question, it comes from God. But what do I say? I say what? Math reveals God is the evidence that a supremely intelligent creator exists, but people deny it. And so what does God do? He says, okay, you deny that proof. I'm going to give you a visible sign. Yeah. What does he do? He sends his what? Son in the flesh. He says, I've given you the proof. I've given you the proof that you need and you still deny me. I'm going to send my son who you can what? See, touch, taste, hear, smell. What will you do then? What will you do then? And I think we all know the story, but I'll just quote this verse. I say, he is the image of the invisible God. This person himself even says, whoever has seen me has seen the Father. This person is Jesus. Jesus is what? The visible representation of the invisible God. And so what? God in his mercy has already provided us evidence. But I wanted to make this point too because it's like all math does point to is a creator. It doesn't necessarily point to the God of the Bible. It just points to that there is a creator. And so I take it a step further and say what? I believe this creator, because there's tons of gods and tons of religions and belief systems, but I say what? No, it's the God of the Bible. Because this God of the Bible is seeking to make himself known. And so you deny me because you can't see me. I'm going to send you my son. And what do? You kill him.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy too because God knew that. God knew that would happen. And I feel like that's what makes Christianity so different than all other religions and faiths is because you see this God who not only wants to be known, that's not a crazy thought to have a God that wants to be worshipped and known, which is true of the God of the Bible, but he goes out of his way to give his child, his only son, and he knew, like if he knows all things, he knew that Jesus would die, and then made the decision that when Jesus was crucified to look away so that the wrath that we deserve is absorbed for Christ. And it saves us. Like, it saves us. It's so intentional. And so to think about all these concepts being so intentional, we have to take it even down to the micro level again. Like, how is God intentional with me? Like, what is he doing in my life that has been intentional? What moments have I thought were coincidences that really might not be coincidences at all? What is he doing now? He's showing me on the macro level, and how can I dig deeper and really take that scary step and ask myself those questions, because it is scary. It is terrifying, especially if we're honest with ourselves and how much we don't know. If we're honest and saying how much we get wrong, we have to find an objective truth to fall back on.
Yeah, and so this, like I said, this was one of my favorite concepts, especially in the first half, because as I've said before, I've divided the book. There's 40 chapters. I've divided the first 20 into abstract concepts, so just concepts that you can't really touch or anything like that, and then the other half are concrete. But just math, it's like you can maybe argue some of the previous ones that I've done, but I think just conclusively it proves not necessarily the God of the Bible, but that there was some intelligence behind creation.
Right.
I think at the bare minimum you can say that, whether you're atheist or agnostic, that there was some form of intelligence that went into creation.
Right.
Now what you do with that is on you. But to argue that I don't believe in God because I can't see him, and then see the mathematical evidence and still just deny it. It's like you it shows that that salvation is not a matter of intellect, it's a matter of heart. Because I can show you the evidence. I can prove to you that the earth is created, but you refuse to believe it. And so, like you said, God, knowing this would happen, says, what excuse do you have now that I have sent my son? Who said what? If you see me, if you see him, you've seen the Father.
Right.
You know, what excuse do we have? And so I kind of end, and this is probably the, if the book had a verse that can sum up the entire book, it would be this. What can be known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation in the world and things that have been made, so they are what? Without excuse. It's like, what excuse do you have? I gave you the evidence of math, you deny it.
Mm-hmm.
Give you the evidence of my son, and you killed them. Like, it always like bugs me out because it's like, on that day of judgment, what will be the excuse?
Right.
You know, what will people have to say? They wanted to deny it. They wanted to reject it. And so, once again, this was one of my favorites. Hopefully, and I try to say this as well, please research for yourself.
Right,
You
absolutely.
know, go study for yourself. Go look up Kepler's law of planetary motion. And we didn't even touch on this, just I think Newton's gravitational law. Just all these mathematical laws that are present.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to believe in scripture. They're present. Ask yourself, where did they come from? Where did they come from? You know, and these are some things that you're going to have to wrestle with. And so, like I said, I would do you guys a disservice if I just simply answer the question, where does math come from, and just say a creator. Now, I want to give you guys the gospel. And every chapter is like that, just taking just an everyday concept, just anyone can just kind of grasp, and then point it back to the gospel, point it back to scripture, point it back to showing how God is revealing himself in just everyday life.
Right.
You know, the thing that I love about scripture, it corresponds with reality. It's not like I know people like say, you know, believing in God is like believing in, you know, the great space meatball monster or something.
Spaghetti monster.
The spaghetti
Flying
monster.
spaghetti monster.
Yeah, that thing.
Yes.
And it's like, no, it's not the same. It's not even close. Believing in that. And so, like I said, if anything that you take away from this is just the gospel, that God is seeking to make himself known. I call the book Burden of Proof. The burden of proof does not lie with the theist. It lies with the atheist to prove that a God does not exist, because we have the evidence. I'm providing you guys with the evidence, and these truths are what eternal. You read this, you know, now, 5, 10, 15 years from now, these truths are going to be the same, because what? Like we spoke on, God is what? Immutable. And like I said, the main thing that we want to emphasize is the gospel, and just seeing how God has revealed himself in the gospel.